Word for that.
Okay.
As long as... Okay. Anyways, we're on Rav Kasher's Torah Shlema, chapter 25, Toldot, Genesis, and paragraph 133. Rav Kasher asks a tremendous question. I don't understand. Doesn't Isaac have a responsibility? Okay, a year passed, 2 years, he thought that it was a medical condition, he thought there was a danger in order to circumcise his... Okay, I got it. But afterwards, doesn't the father have a responsibility? What is this jive of waiting till the age of 13? Doesn't he have a responsibility right away, the day that he understands that he could go through a circumcision? Doesn't he have a responsibility, a father? We know that the Talmud tells us that there are various responsibilities a parent has towards their child, and one of them is circumcision. So what's going on over here? So Rav Kasher says the following, that is true after the Torah was given. And of course, this is before the Torah was given. And in these days, once a kid passed 8 days, the responsibility was on the kids. So before the giving of the Torah, the responsibility was on the parents up to 8 days. And afterwards, after 8 days, if you're not able to do a circumcision, there is no obligation for a parent to circumcise their child, and the obligation goes to the child. So therefore, that's how Isaac was able to do it. So the first problem is, internal problem here is, we said that don't the sages tell us that because of the fact that Dinah was not given over to Esav to possibly marry her and to possibly bring him back to repent, therefore, instead of having a husband who was circumcised and is on a spiritual level, certain spiritual level at least, she was given over to a guy named Shem, who is a person that's uncircumcised. But we see that it's not a simple issue. It's not simple that actually Esav was circumcised. So there's no equation here. There's no punishment here. Just like Esav did not have a circumcision, so Job did not have a circumcision. Okay? Everyone's equal here. But it's not a going down instead. It's not a punishment. Second internal problem here is, we mentioned that the sages tell us the reason why Jacob was punished regarding the attack on his daughter, the reason why he suffered the attack on his daughter was the fact that he did not give the possibility to his brother Esav to marry and therefore be improved by his daughter. And therefore he was punished, and his daughter was abused in the city of Shechem. So we're now in Midrash Tanchuma. The portion is Vayishlach, and we're on paragraph 8. It says the following. Rabbi Yanai says that a person that gives, that vows, promises to do something, and that person doesn't go through with the promise or the vow, then God checks He checks exactly where we stand. He checks our books, so to speak, our commandments, the good things and the bad things, and that's not good, because see, in the Torah tells us that the blessing is always found in things that are hidden. I'll tell you just a short story. I've been teaching in a Talmud Torah in a Jewish school for youngsters for the last, this is my 24th year, thank God. And for 24 years, the Talmud Torah the school has run a certain way. All of a sudden this year, a couple of months ago, a certain mother went to the authorities, to the government authorities, and had some kind of hallucination, kind of complaint against the Talmud Torah. Like her complaint was that the kids are, it's a danger to walk 4 steps from the gate of the kindergarten to the gate of the Talmud Torah. And I'm not exaggerating when I say 4 or 5 steps. So in her eyes, it was a big danger here that the kids are, walking from one place to the next place. It's a tremendous danger. So she went to the, to the municipality, and she spoke to a woman there that's in charge of education, and that woman who's in charge of education in the municipality went to the Ministry of Education. Oh man, so now we have, besides all the gates, we have more gates. Sometimes there's Watergate and there's Bill Gates, but in our Talmud Torah, in our school, we have a lot of gates now. We also had a problem with the gates. So all it takes is like one person to go to the one person, and they go to the authorities, and now they start checking everything. Now they open up your books. There ain't no way you're going to go unscathed by this. No way. No way. So anyways, that's exactly. Rav Yanai says, when a person promises to do something, gives a vow, and he doesn't come through, he doesn't do it, then Hashem says, okay, let's open up the books. It's like the IRA. Once they open up the books, you've had it, Jack. You're gone. So it says here the following, because of the fact that Jacob promised 36 years ago, that he promised to God that when he would return to the land of Israel, he would set up an altar and give thanks to God for bringing him back to the land of Israel. But what happened? Jacob got stuck in the exile. And instead of coming back like right away, he stood there. He stayed there for 22 years. It's unbelievable. He stayed there for 22 years. And even when he left, it still took him another year and a half or 2 till he got to that altar. So this is like what we say in Yiddish, this is like a schlep, like slow. It's like slow-mo. So listen to this. This is really unbelievable. So Rav Yanai tells us the following insight. That Jacob made it big. Amazing thing. It's like talking about the Jewish community today. How many people don't come back to the land of Israel because they made it big? It's less these days because not many people are making it big. A lot of people are sinking. But he made it big, and he did not go back to the land of Israel and pay his dues, set up that altar. Did not do it. So therefore, what does Hashem do? Hashem sends him Esav, his brother, to try to kill him, in order to try to wake him up. Like, hey, Jacob, what about that vow you made? Let's do it. But it says that Jacob did not change any of his ways. Okay? He knows that his brother is after him, and he's not sitting down and saying, listen, maybe it's something I did. Maybe I have some of my deeds are not clean. And he didn't sit down, and think about what he had to do, what he had to correct. So he kept on going on with life. And then what happens later? Okay, if that's not enough, his brother comes along and takes from him a tremendous gift. 550 animals. 550 animals. Also, according to a lot of opinion, not only were there animals that he gave as a gift to Esav, but also there were other riches that he gave along with the 550 or 580. There's a dispute how many animals were given over as a present, as a gift to Esav. So you're losing your pants here. And it's a wake-up call from God to say, hey, Jacob, it's time, do what you said you're going to do. But Jacob just keeps on going. God brings another wake-up call. In this time, it's an angel that goes and fights with him and injures him in his leg. Jacob still is not woken up. Afterwards, what does he send? Afterwards, he goes and he brings to the downfall of his daughter Dinah. She falls and is raped by Shechem in the city of Shechem, in the holy city of Shechem. And therefore, he still does not wake up. Even after this, all this bad stuff is happening to you. Think about it. Why is it happening? Maybe I have to change something. You know, you get hit. You have to think about what's going on over here. God's not just giving you a hit. When your parents, when your parents give you a clap, there's a message. They want you to improve. They're trying to wake you up. And afterwards, he brought upon the fact that his wife Rachel, passed away, approximately the age of, some say 36, some say 45, that she passes away. Okay, and only afterwards does he wake up, and he goes to the city of Beit El, as he promised. 22 years before, and then he does his oath. So we see here a problem. According to what we read at the beginning, the reason why Jacob was punished and his daughter was raped is because of the fact that he did not give over his daughter Dinah to marry the wicked Esau and perhaps influence him. But we see here that Jacob was punished because of the fact that he did not go and produce and take care of the vow that he had made 22 years ago. For so many years, he was going and he did not take care of his oath and take care of his vow. And therefore, he was punished because of that. So it's a contradiction why Jacob was punished. Our third problem, internal problem, is a bigger question. Okay, so far we talked about the fact that it doesn't seem like it was a punishment here because of the fact that Esau was not circumcised himself. Number two, we see that there were other reasons why Jacob was punished, not because of the fact that he gave over his daughter. Third, which is the biggest internal problem here, is that if you think about it, what is the guiding light? I know we're talking a lot about soap operas, but what is the guiding light of Torah, of Judaism? What does Torah and Judaism teach us about who to hang out with? What community to live in? Does it tell us to go out and hang out with the bad boys? Or does it tell us to hang out with the good guys, with the righteous souls? So let's look into it. First of all, in the Talmud, Tractate Megillah, page 28, side 1, it says something very interesting. It says that it is forbidden to look at the face of a wicked person. Anybody that's been in my house knows that when you come to my house many times, the magazine by 7, it's called 7 Magazine, it's by Arutz Sheva, Channel 7 in Israel. It's always, most of the time, it's missing the front cover. Why? Because in my house, we are not going to look at pictures of wicked people. So I tear off, before I bring that rag into my house, or if someone else brought it, I usually don't bring it, but if someone else brought the rag into my house, I rip off that first page. So you come and you're starting from page, 3 here. Why? Because we don't look at wicked people. In fact, I just saw this morning a tremendous Torah by the Beit Aaron. The Beit Aaron says, I don't understand. Jacob was surrounded by angels, guardian angels. I mean, there's opinions that there were 500,000 angels around him. And we're not talking about the Los Angeles angels. We're talking about real angels over here. And we're not talking about Charlie's angels, real angels over here. So you got a dozen, it doesn't matter, you got 3, there's different opinions amongst the sages how many angels were there. But you're surrounded by angels, you're kind of like, I would imagine you're kind of protected. What in the world is Jacob afraid of? Listen to this beautiful Torah. The Beit Aaron says the following, that Jacob was not frightened at all of Esau. Not at all. What was he frightened of? One thing. He was frightened that he did not want to look at the face of a wicked person. That's what bothered him. Because he knew spiritually, it's such a bummer, it's such a, it's such a spiritual down. It's such a danger to look at these people. And I'm not talking about if you happen to see somebody for 1 second, put your head down afterwards, nothing happened. We're talking about looking. You know what I'm saying? Looking. 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. Looking, I'm saying, you're staring, you're concentrating. That. We're not talking about you go down the street. It's almost impossible today. Wherever you are in the world, almost impossible, not to run into bad, different unmodest scenes. But when you see one, no problem. Nothing's happened. Just put your head down. Don't look. The problem is when we continue looking, that's when you have the problem. So that's what he says. That was the fear. Okay? That was the fear of Jacob. He did not want to look at the face of his brother Esau because he knew that he was a wicked person, and he knows that when you look at wicked people, that influences you. It brings me back to a conversation I had too many years ago with the special holy Jew, Rabbi Hillel Lieberman, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, righteous, may Hashem avenge his blood. He told me many, many years ago, he told me, Yehuda, make sure that you don't listen to some people listen to various stations in Israel that are run by wicked people. Make sure you don't listen to them. I said, why not? Because when you listen to their voice, even though it's over the waves, it's still influencing you in a very negative manner. Just listening to their voice, even if they're speaking about the weather, like who cares about what the weather is? Or if they're speaking about something that's, parv, it's not, sports or something that's, traffic accidents. By the fact, and this is also brought down many times in Rav Nachman of Breslev's works, do not listen, do not try to stay away even from the voice of the wicked people, because a voice has a tremendous influence on our souls, and it's a negative influence. How much more so when you're looking at the face, and the face is the most important, okay? Because the face in Hebrew, it's a beautiful. In English, doesn't mean anything. Face, but in Hebrew, the word face is panim, and panim is also pnim, is the inside. So when you're looking at a person's face, you're actually looking at the person is. You could see a kind person by his face. You don't have to speak to him. You already look at a person's face. You could really understand a lot about a person by just looking at a person's face. Okay, so number one. Number two, if any of us out there pray every day, we say every single day, like, man, wake up, like, woohoo, wake up. We say every single day in our prayers, in the morning prayers, before the the leader of the prayers gets on his, steps up there to the plate. When we're just like, warming up on the warm-ups, pre-game prayers, we say, V'archikeinu me'adam ra u'mechavera. Please Hashem, keep me separate, keep me apart, keep me a distance from wicked people and from wicked friends, influences. I mean, it's black and white. We say it every single day. What in the world is going on here? Why do our sages come and condemn Jacob for the fact that he hit his daughter? He should get a medal for hiding his daughter Dinah. What in the world is going on here? Just like we praise Leah, and we say her eyes are beautiful, but they look pretty ugly to me. No, you're not looking well. The fact is because she received those eyes because of the fact that she didn't want to be connected to a wicked person. I'm just going to call a time out here and make one point very clear. In the Tractate of Kiddushin, on the 18th page, there is a discussion, a very important discussion. Who is Esav? Now there's a dispute amongst the sages. Some sages claim that he is a Gentile like any other Gentile. There are other opinions that Esav is a Jew. It's just a wicked Jew. In Hebrew we say, Yisrael Mumar, a blemished Jew, a wicked Jew, but he's Jewish. Amazing. Yeah? So, this brings us to even an earlier question. What is the status of Abraham? Was Abraham a Jew? I remember once, many years ago, I gave a talk somewhere, and some guy raised his hand and he says, "Oh, I didn't know that Abraham was a Jew. I thought he was a Gentile." He's a Jew. Anyways, it's a big question. Not an easy question. Was Abraham considered to be Jewish, or was he considered to be a Ben Noach, a Noahite, a regular Gentile? Isaac, was Isaac Jewish, or was Isaac a Noahite? Not a simple question. Same thing goes with Esau. So this whole class, you have to understand, we're going on the premise, okay, we're going on the premise that Esau was a Jew. He just happened to be a wicked Jew, full of blemishes. That's our premise. So I wanted to make sure that we got that in, because it's very important. Because you might say, well, this might be a class on should we unite with the nations of the world, because Esau represents the nations of the world. That is true, that today in our times, and way before our times, Esau already is gone, out. But we're talking about in the early stages of his life, the early stages when he went off the track. Number 3, we have in front of us Maimonides. We have the laws of Deot, of knowledge. We have the 6th chapter and the 1st and 2nd law. Listen to this very closely. Very important laws. These are Jewish halachas, Jewish laws. The way that God created people, that they're very influenced by their surroundings. I find myself sometimes when I'm praying and I hear somebody like out loud saying a certain prayer and I'm not at that point in the prayers, sometimes just the fact that I heard him, I'll go along and continue where he's continuing. But that's not where I'm at. I have to catch myself, because that's the influence of the outside. So people are very influenced by their surroundings, by their friends and their communities, and by the states where they live. And therefore the Rambam, Maimonides says, a person must connect himself to the righteous people. A person should sit by the knowledgeable rabbis always, that they should learn from good people, from righteous people. And a person should stay away from the wicked people that are going in the darkness, that live a life of darkness, in order that we should not learn from their deeds. And he continues, if you live in a state where the people are evil people, then the Rambam says, or the state is wicked, or the people are wicked, you should leave that place and go to a place where the righteous live, and the righteous live holy and upright lives. And if you know that, like in our times, the Rambam says, Maimonides says, just like in our times, where could you find a place where there's, righteous people? It's hard to find it today. So he says a person should go to the mountains, a person should go to a hilltop, live up over there, stay away, and remove yourself from the evil midst. And if it's an evil state that they will not allow you, just like in our times, they don't allow you to settle. Very interesting. They don't allow you to settle in many, many hilltops here in Israel. They'll come and arrest you and they'll tear it down. So, if they do not allow you to, not to mix, you're forced to mix, he says a person should leave and run away and hide out in caves and in the deserts, and he should not be influenced by wicked people. And then he says, he summarizes by the fact that there is a positive commandment of the Torah that a person should connect himself with positive, righteous people. Next, it says in the Ethics of our Forefathers, chapter 1, the seventh Mishnah. It says the following: Nitai Ha'arbeli. He lived up there near Tiberias. He said, Al titchaber l'rasha. Keep yourself away from the wicked people. Keep yourself away from the wicked people. Moving right along here. It says in the following, in Avoti Rabbi Natan, it says something even more unbelievable, eye-opening, amazing. It says that even for the sake of Torah, to bring somebody closer to Torah, stay away from the wicked. Where do we see this? We see this in the Bible. We see it to the fact that the sages tell us, because of the fact that the righteous King Yehoshaphat was the king of Judea, he connected himself to the wicked Achav. Therefore Hashem sent tremendous calamities on the head of Yehoshaphat. And also, again, when Yehoshaphat joined forces with Ahaziah, one of the kings, one of the evil kings, and it says in the verse there, that because of the fact that you joined with the evil forces, you will be punished. And the conclusion of Avoti Rabbi Natan is that even to bring the wicked closer to Torah, you have to stay away. You have to stay away. So it seems, what in the world is going on here? Why do the sages condemn Jacob for hiding his wife? He should be received, a Nobel Peace Prize. His daughter. It's good you're here, Brother Len. Have that save. Get that save in. Okay. I hope we still have, we'll start this week with the first answer. The first answer is, once again, let's get the question clear. Are we okay, Mike? On time?
It's 28, so let's stop and start the third segment.
One second.
Oh, nothing.
I just have...
Okay.
We'll hold it here.
Yeah, so stop it.
See you next week, yeah.
Not fit, if I can make it.
Alright, you want to continue?
No, he's got 3 answers.
Oh, 3 answers.